Everybody told me first build a business, then invest. That is the wrong advice. Here's what I do instead and why it's already compounding. Hi, I'm Shivam, 24, and I run two companies, Strio Healthcare and Zoom Doctor from a small town in West Bengal. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I actually think about money, what I invest in, and the mental models that changed everything for me. When I look around, I see people my age are buying expensive gadgets, going on trips with friends, going to parties, clubs, and just having a good time. And then I look at myself, boring startup life, office, home, home, office. But the one thing that I feel good about is the money that's working behind me 24/7 and growing itself. That is the one thing that changes everything in the long term, forever. When I started out, I had very little money coming in. It was inconsistent, unpredictable, and an amount that is so negligible, it's not even worth mentioning. But still, slowly, I built a profitable portfolio for myself. I was 17 when I started consuming content about investment, stock market, equity, growing money, and etc. I had a teacher who has just started his own investing journey, and he would always share his journey, his wins, and his mistakes. While YouTube gave me the theory and idea of investing, that person was the one who handheld me into real world stock market. That was the moment I was determined to start my own investing journey. As soon as I was eligible, I applied for my PAN card the day I turned 18. It took about a month or two to come, and the day it came, I opened a Demat account for myself. At that time, the only source of money was pocket money, and I was very scared to invest in the market. Hundreds of industries having thousands of companies among millions of investors, and I had no idea what to do. I read the book that almost everybody reads, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I had the biggest takeaway that I will never forget in my entire life. Pay yourself first. This is the single most important thing that has made me invest my money consistently every single month over the last 7 years. Since I do business, my income is not consistent. I do not pay myself a fixed salary. Not recommended. But I take out money whenever possible from the business and I invest all of it. The amount may vary, the time may vary, the asset may vary, but I make sure that I invest at least some amount of money every single month, no matter what. If you're in a job, I highly recommend that you take out a certain percentage of your money every single month, and as soon as you get paid, invest the money immediately. Do not keep the money with yourself. Just invest. See, we are humans and it is our human nature to spend the money that we have. So do not take the risk of keeping the money with yourself. As soon as you get paid, invest. At first, I was a stock picker. Thanks to YouTube and finance influencers who influenced me that direct stock investing was much better than mutual funds. It is, but only if you know the game. So I do not recommend starting with stocks directly if you're a beginner. See, I'm not a SEBI registered advisor, and this is not a recommendation. This is just what I do with my own portfolio. So whatever money I invest, I split it into 6 parts, which are mostly SIPs. The major chunk of my money goes into a multi-cap mutual fund. This gives me the maximum coverage of the overall market. The second part gets into a long-term small cap fund. This is highly volatile but may give massive returns in the very long term. I usually invest and forget in this one. The third part, I invest in a sectoral healthcare fund. I do this because I work in the healthcare industry and this is kind of my favorite sector. So I express my loyalty by investing back into it. Next, I have separate liquid funds for each of my goals. I invest little amounts of money whenever possible and I grow this corpus to fulfill my dreams. Then I have some broader ETFs like gold, silver, and some international ETFs. This is mainly for diversification and as a hedge to my main portfolio. And the money that is left, which is usually a very small amount, I invest directly into stocks. This is risky, requires more time to research, and requires greater attention. I realize that building a business and building wealth are two different games, but we need to play both simultaneously. Running a business is already tiring. You are constantly in problems, firefighting, managing people, going bankrupt and all. But your portfolio is your safety net. If you are an entrepreneur, you don't have the safety of a stable salary. So you need to build your own security. And the only way to do that is to build a portfolio that you can rely on in cases of emergency. So if you are a founder, I strongly recommend that whenever possible, take out some money and invest in any asset and let it grow. because you are in such a profession that you do not know what tomorrow will bring. You can either earn a lot of money or you can go broke. So under no circumstance you can afford to not have a portfolio and a solid backup. People usually make the mistake of thinking that first they need to fix their life, earn a stable living, and then invest the rest. That is the worst approach to building long-term wealth. Establishing a business takes years and sometimes decades, and it is absolutely same with money. Building a large, ever-growing portfolio takes decades, but once it reaches a certain point, then it's self-feeding. It gets the inertia to grow on its own, just like a successful business. So no matter whether you invest 100, 1000 or 10,000, just start. Nobody is coming to see your portfolio and judge you. So why care? No amount is small amount, but every day passed is a lesser day of compounding. So do not wait to have enough money to start. Just start. If you're watching this from a small town, you have an extra edge over people living in metro cities. You have a superpower at your play, and it's called cost of living. People in metro cities have greater rent, greater transportation, more expensive food, more expensive lifestyle, and more expensive everything. But living in a small town, you can manage all of this in a small budget. This gives you a massive leverage to invest the rest of the money you have. The more money you can invest, and for the longest, the greatest amount of wealth that you can build. I'd highly recommend you to now search on YouTube how to invest, learn the basics, and just start. You can start with any index fund, any low cost ETF, and anything in the market will give you the basic idea of the stock market. Do not wait for anyone to help you. Do not wait for anything big to happen in your life. Wealth building happens in silence, so embrace that. Learn. Take out some money of what you earn and invest. Do not wait for anyone. Just start. If this was useful, I post videos like this every single week. So subscribe and I'll meet you in the next one.
Zoom doctor, find your treatment today. Zoom doctor, the right doctor is just one tap away.